What's happening, YouTube? Spectre here. You're joining a lovely grey day doing 20 under as I head off to everyone's favourite event, MOT Day, which is always a little bit stressful. It's never going to be fully relaxing. I don't mind. The bike MOTs aren't as bad as the car MOTs to me, because at least on the bike you can see everything. The only worry I have really this year is that last year I had an issue with my headstock bearings. They were a little bit too tight, and we were able to adjust it loose, but if that's worsened again over the year, eventually that's going to need doing, and I'm hoping that's not this year, because I don't really have the money for that right now. But we'll see how it goes. I would like to overtake this car at some point, but I think we're stuck here for a little bit. But yeah, other than that, not too bad. So we're off to Plymouth. I'll go to my usual guy there. Again, if you're in the region, I have mentioned this guy before, but Phil at Cook Motorcycles down in Miller's Court, the ferry port in Plymouth. He is always my go-to. He was when I lived in Plymouth before I moved away, and now I'm back in the south. I still make the hour journey to go and see him, so he is worth the effort. Good people. Actually, I want to start this video with another little shout out. I seem to be doing that quite a lot recently. No, it's not intended to be a regular feature, but it seems to be happening a lot. But if you remember a couple of videos ago, I shouted out a lad that like I'd interacted with. He shouted me out in the video and stuff like that. Well, that happens a fair amount for me, because I try to be quite proactive within the kind of motovlogging sphere, as it were. Not necessarily with uploading, as you'd have seen from my schedule this year, but certainly in terms of like engagement, commenting, you know, communicating with people. Like, I try and be quite active, and particularly like as someone who doesn't get a great deal of engagement on their videos. Out of the fucking way. Yeah, someone who doesn't get a great deal of engagement on their videos, I know just like what a difference a comment can make, even one comment. So I try and leave lots of comments, make them like useful comments, reference things in the video, preferably reference things towards the latter half of the video where possible, so that they know that you've watched the whole thing, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm kind of everywhere commenting, and particularly get like a smaller channel, that tends to get you noticed quite a lot, which is nice. So one of these little, you know, online friends, communicators that I've developed through this sort of method, who's recently shouted me out a couple of times actually, is another channel I want to recommend to you guys, is B-Source. Put that on screen, I'll put that in the description as well. They're Canadian, they're over in Ontario, riding, I think it's a Vulcan, I think it's a VN 750 question mark, I don't remember the CC, but it's not quite army green, but kind of like military mint, which is it looks quite cool. But yeah, they ride over there, and they're really cool, and they've got like 27 subs, so please do go and follow them and give them some views and give them some, you know, encouragement. But they shouted me out in the last couple of videos, and they've been sort of quietly watching mine, and she was saying she was jealous because, like, being Canada, they've had like wall-to-wall snow for months, and the whole time that they were still snowed in, she's watching me going to all these bike meets and stuff. So yeah, that's my shout out for this week. B-Source. Thanks for watching if you watch this, and everyone else, go follow them. What else is going on? Well, we've finally got some positive dealer news in this country, which is a nice change from all of the closures and collapses and all of these various groups going under. For those not in the UK, our motorcycle dealer network is just collapsing. Like, there's been so many shutdowns, the majority of which are big manufacturer dealers rather than like independent, you know, second-hand stuff. Second-hand market is still extremely good. In fact, if anything, it's doing better than normal, because no one can afford brand new bikes anymore. But because people are struggling for money, motorcycles for a lot of people are seen as a toy or a hobby, so the sales starting to dip. But then a lot of these manufacturer dealers, they have minimum like purchase orders from their dealers. Like, so if they're a BMW dealer, BMW say, okay, you have to have one of every model in your dealer, you have to have X amount of these purchases, you have to have, you know, X amount of stock bought, which they have to pay for up front, and then they have to hope that they can sell it to make that back. But if they don't sell it, they're just out of money with a whole bunch of stock they can't shift. And then the next year comes around, maybe those models are no longer as relevant, maybe they've been superseded by something, and now you've got a bunch of bikes you have to sell at a loss, you know, a bargain basement. Like Downbarrels down here in Cornwall, they've I was talking to someone at a bike meet yesterday, and I think they've ditched Suzuki entirely, because Suzuki was like, you need to have one of every model, and they were like, well, we're not going to sell one of every model because, you know, the local market isn't there for all of the range. And there was no back and forth, so they just went, alright, cool, we won't stock you then, bye. So yeah, it's a rough time. There's been a lot of collapses as a result, one of which made me very sad, was Triumph in Plymouth. Now Triumph, if you've watched Triumph for a while, I used to have Bonneville. Triumph are my favourite brand still. You know, they have their faults, but they make some amazing bikes. I will own another Triumph again, most likely a Scrambler, I think, at this point. Unfortunately, the Triumph in Plymouth, which was a stunning dealer, was part of a larger group that was Triumph. It was Harley Plymouth, which was an awful dealer. So I'm not sat there going, I think there was another Harley, I think it was like Harley Bournemouth or something like that. Like there was another Harley not local that was in the group, and then there were a couple of boring car dealers in the group in that same like business part, like a Kia, and there was something else like that. But the whole group went under and into administration with like billions of debt, and it took the entire group down, and that was it. There was no more Triumph, and it sucked because it was such a nice dealer. It was bright, it was open, the guys there were really, really nice. Like you could see all the bikes, you could walk around them all, sit on them all. The upstairs had a used section with like loads of second-hand bikes they've taken as Partex, and a few like classics just to sort of look at. It was, and then a big clothing store at the other end. It was such a nice dealer, and yeah, it went down. And the problem is that's the most westerly Triumph dealer. There are no Triumph dealers in Cornwall, the entirety of Cornwall, which is slightly mad because Cornwall's got a really big and active motorcycle community, and Cornwall's got lots of money, you know, selectively, but like the people who are buying new bikes tend to have a bit of cash because they're all like retirees who've come down and bought all the houses that people like me can't afford. And so you'd think there would be enough market to get a Triumph dealer down here, maybe in like, I don't know, Truro or something like that, but there just isn't. So the next closest Triumph dealer was all the way over in Exeter, which is quite a trek. I mean, like I say, it's an hour for me to go. I'm, you know, in East Cornwall. It's an hour for me to get to Plymouth, and it's another hour at least to get to Exeter from there. Probably more. You have to go around Exeter and back in on itself. And if you go across the moors, it's like fucking 3 hours if you try and take a nicer route with it. So yeah, it's very it was very not ideal. But I recently saw an announcement that Triumph are coming back, not under the same group, but Oceans, which is the local BMW franchise. Oceans BMW in Plymouth, and I think there's another one in Falmouth, which I believe is the same group. I could be wrong on that, but I think they're all the same group. But yeah, Oceans have bought or have managed to get the rights to the Triumph Plymouth franchise. I don't know if that's just an entirely new franchise, or if they've managed to buy back, if they've taken over the closed one. Like, you understand, like I don't know if they've got that building, I don't know if they've got those people or the stock or anything like that, but certainly they have the franchise. And yeah, they're coming back. There's going to be a new Triumph dealer. I believe there's going to be like a temporary dealer within Oceans, like in the BMW dealer or around the BMW dealer, and then they're building a nice fancy new dedicated dealership somewhere in Plymouth to be open later this year, question mark, potentially. So yeah, that's really exciting. I'm really hyped about that. Forgive me while I sit here doing 30 in a 70 which is no longer a 70, it's a 50, because, you know, heaven forbid we get anywhere. But yeah, temporary 30 because of all this, you know, all this roadworks that are going on, you know, all these people who are working here that you can definitely see working. But yeah, Ocean's really cool. Me and a friend went into Ocean BMW a while back now, and we kind of had really quite a low bar going in. We were kind of like we're very clearly we're going there to have a mooch. We're clearly not BMW money. So we were kind of like, sometimes when dealerships know they're not going to make a sale out of you, they can kind of, you know, they'll be a bit offish with you, or they can like try and shoo you out the door fairly quickly, not be too engaged, which is fair enough, because, you know, you are, as much as they need to promote the brand, you are mildly wasting their time. But no, they were really, really friendly. They were so nice. They showed us around. The dealership was much bigger than it looked, and it's much nicer than it looked. We sat on a bunch of bikes. We had a look around some others. They pulled out, they had this what was it, R18, the cruiser, with basically straight pipes, and they pulled that out and started that for us, and that sounded like biblical. So they're really cool. So I don't know if they're going to get the original Triumph, the previous Triumph team back through, or if it's all like new staff, or if it's going to be a combination of Ocean staff and new guys. But either way, I think it'll be really good. Hopefully it is the old staff. Hopefully they get all the people who've lost their jobs can get their jobs back again. That would be wonderful, because you never want to see people losing their jobs. It's awful. Exciting times for Triumph in the southwest, but also Plymouth in terms of dealerships, which would be lovely. And then separately to that, there's a new, well, there's an existing dealer has got a new brand with them. So there's a dealer over the other side of Dartmoor, out on the sort of off the A38, kind of in a really weird spot, but they're called Rainbow. Cards on the table, they look fucking awful. It looks like a terrible dealer. It's like this horrible, like, industrial shed, one of those little corrugated, like, just corrugated metal cubes on a slip road. It's like a bizarre place to have a dealership. It's yeah, I don't know, it's, I guess it's cheap rent there maybe. But it's this like random little dealership. They've got the worst website you'll probably have seen in the last like 20 years. Like, it's proper, no one there knows how to do SEO or social media or take a decent photo. Like, it is truly dreadful. And they've been selling sort of cheap little kind of no-name bikes. Like, they've been selling Benellis, and they sell some like random electric like dirt bikes and stuff like that. None of which is interesting to anyone, and which is why I hadn't even heard of them previously. But somehow, Christ knows how, but somehow they've landed the Buell importer, and they're now the official Buell importer for the whole of the UK, which is wild, because that's a really big, interesting brand, and it's coming to this shed in Devon. I don't quite know what's up with that. But anyway, they had should open the visor slightly. Apologise as always for the wind. Yeah, they had this weekend actually just gone. These last couple of days, they had an opening weekend. I didn't go along to it because the bike I want to see isn't there yet. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, they had an opening weekend. It looked miserable, frankly. It rained one of the days, which didn't help. But it looked like there was absolutely no one there, and basically there was no event celebrating it. But I came to see Edward down there having a look at the bikes. And yeah, they've got Buell now. So they had the two kind of ongoing models. So is it the Hammerhead? I don't really know these models, but there's the sports bike, and then there's the naked version from it. I think it's the Hammerhead and there's something else, all using the same motor, the big Harley derived sort of SNS motor. Those bikes aren't particularly interesting to me, frankly. I'm glad they're here, and they're unique, but quite boring. Let me get through the toll real quick. How you doing? The old toll booth Grand Prix. Like 6 lanes going into 2. And 0 to 60, 0 to 70 run. Always fun. What was I saying? Yeah, the Hammerhead nut, they're cool, and I like that they exist. And they're interesting as far as they have no competition anymore, because like the Yamaha MT-01 is long since dead, and that was kind of it. Like, there's really not any characterful big lumpy V-twin non-cruisers anymore, so they're interested in that regard. But the one that I'm really hyped about is the upcoming model, which is the Super Cruiser, And I think there's like a Super Cruiser S or something. Like there's two models, one's like a base and one's a slightly more touring one, I think, potentially. Those look really cool. They look really exciting. I've been watching them throughout their development. They look really interesting because they're filling the role that things like the things like the Harley Dyna used to fill. So it's like a sort of mid-weight cruiser, but with just bare power. Like, it's so meaty. I think they're 140 horsepower or something stupid. Like, I'll chuck the stats on screen, but they look absolutely sick. They look fantastic. They've got really nice proportions. They've got a little, like, they actually look quite similar to the Magna, which is probably why I like them. They've got a little sort of cowley job on the front, but yeah, they make fat power. And they've got, like, you know, reasonably high pegs for a cruiser, so you can, in theory, corner them quite hard. And yeah, they're really exciting to me. So as soon as I don't think they're ready yet. The reason they weren't there at the launch weekend is I don't think they're production ready just yet. I think they're coming later this year. So I'm going to keep an eye on the old socials, and when those are in the dealer, then I think me and the boys are going to go and have a little ride over there at some point, which will be quite cool. It'll be quite a nice ride. Like, it's a bit of a ways for us, but we can have a nice, you make a day of it, because you can go up across Dartmoor and then go to like Morton Hampstead and then down from there through wherever all those villages are called, you know. But yeah, it's gonna be really cool. And like, me and the boys, like 3 of the guys I ride with now, we've got a group chat going that's progressively growing as one of my mates slowly adds all of the people he's ever known. And like, out of the group, 3 of them have got Sportsters at this point. So, and my mate as well also has a Buell, that you'd have seen on the channel before. And actually, I need to take that I need to give that as a ride on the channel at some point, do a little review video. I've ridden it very briefly back from the garage at one point when he was visiting. It's a very interesting bike. It's an X12 Ulysses. At some point I'll get that off him. It is broken, as as most Buells tend to be. It is currently broken with a damaged or suspected damaged stator, which from the signs of it is going to be a total pain in the ass. Can I do a little... Oh, I'm not going to get past you, am I? In fact, actually, I might just sneak through here. But yeah, it's got a damaged stator, we suspect, and that is a faff because it's behind the primary. So you got to take like half the side of the engine off, and then I think he listed a whole stack of tools he needs for it, and it was like it's a whole process. So you have to buy a whole new toolkit to do it. So that's on the back burner for now. He's got a second bike now anyway, which you'll see at some point, which I'm also going to nick at some point and take for a spin. But yeah, so it's interesting because we're all like, they're all Harley guys and they've got all the Harleys, so they kind of like Harley style cruisers, and then also the Buell guys going to like Buell stuff. So yeah, it's going to be one to go and check out. So yeah, it's exciting times for local dealerships. One new dealership and one new brand, new franchise, both of which will be exciting to go. I'll probably make videos of both when we go along to them. It's not necessarily been a positive week or positive couple of weeks all over, because we have just lost CCM, unfortunately, which is a real bummer. They're into administration, but I'm going to talk about that in a separate video because I've been waffling for a while now. So yeah, I think I'm probably going to mostly leave this one here. We're going to just cruise along now. Whereas, as you can see, we've entered into Plymouth, got through Devonport, now we're almost at my garage, so we'll head over to the garage and then go for the MOT and hopefully pass just fine, because I could do without spending a bunch of money right now. And then I will let you know how we get on and we go from there. Let me know in the comments, let me know, particularly if you're in the UK, let me know how your local, actually I suppose if you're not in the UK as well, let me know how your local dealerships are doing. Are they doing well? Are they struggling? Have you had a bunch of closures lately? Which fucking lane are you in, sweet cheeks? Okay. Deal with the old state of the roads, but we are finally almost there now. Miller's Court is just here. And here we are, there's those. I'll catch up with you in a bit. Oh yeah. Wow. Now we're free. We've passed and live to see another year. It's a couple of advisories. Some I knew about. The chain is mank, which I knew that already. And also annoyingly, the rear tyre apparently is on the way out, which is really fucking annoying because I only did that what, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I'd only do like fucking 2.5 grand a 1,000 years, 2,500 years, 2,500 miles a year. So it's not like I'm riding the bastard thing very hard, but apparently it's on its way, so that's pretty annoying. I guess I won't use that brand again. Knocks my mirror, how dare he. Yeah, I was saying that the one good thing about doing the tyre again is I'm going to get them to put a 50 degree, 90 degree valve stem on next time, because currently I can't get, there's not enough space between the dish and the drum for me to get my tyre pumps onto any of the ones I have at home, so it makes it really irritating to put air in the tyres. So if I'll get a 50 degree, not one of the shitty screw ones, like a proper actual 90 degree stem, and then that will make my life way easier. So yeah, that'll be good. But there's nothing too major. It passed first time, you know, there's no major advisories and nothing I need to do with right now, which is good because I'm skint. Yeah, we live to fight another day. Always good to have a happy ending for the video, and with that note, I'm going to head into town, go mooch around because I don't come down here very often these days, so might as well. And I'll leave you guys here. So thank you very much for watching, as always. I know this one's a little bit rambly. I've not made a video for a few weeks, so I'm a little out of practice. Normal service will resume at some point. But thank you very much for watching, and have a good day. Peace.